Why do you sometimes eat without really being hungry? Emotional eating. Habit loop. Taste preference. Nutrient need. Emotional eating. The brain often uses food to cope with stress or boredom rather than true hunger. Why do you feel guilty for small mistakes? Overthinking. Habitual worry. Brain self-monitoring. Conscience overload. Brain self-monitoring. The brain constantly scans for errors in behavior, often exaggerating minor mistakes. Why do you struggle to focus when multitasking? Distraction. Task switching. Fatigue. Memory overload. Task switching. Your brain rapidly switches tasks instead of truly doing them simultaneously. Why do you sometimes ignore your own feelings? Habitual suppression. Fear of judgment. Distraction. Stress overload. Habitual suppression. Many people suppress emotions to cope with stress, which can harm mental health over time. Why do you check your to-do list repeatedly? Anxiety. Habit. Attention drift. Stress relief. Anxiety. The brain seeks control and reassurance, which creates repetitive checking. Why do you remember negative events more than positive ones? Negativity bias. Attention error. Selective memory. Bad luck. Negativity bias. Negative experiences create stronger memories because the brain treats them as important for survival. Why do you procrastinate even on important tasks? You feel lazy. Immediate reward bias. Fear of failure. You dislike tasks. Immediate reward bias. The brain prefers short-term pleasure over long-term gains, causing delays. Why do you replay arguments in your mind? Rumination. Memory loss. Curiosity. Attention deficit. Rumination. The brain overthinks social conflicts to try to predict outcomes, causing stress. Why do you often procrastinate on important tasks? Fear of effort. Poor planning. Laziness. Immediate reward bias. Immediate reward bias. The brain prefers instant gratification over long-term goals. Why do you check your phone even when nothing important happens? Boredom. Dopamine craving. Curiosity. Memory habit. Dopamine craving. Notifications give small hits of dopamine, making your brain want them repeatedly. Why do you sometimes misread someone's tone? Focus drift. Memory bias. Emotion projection. Hearing error. Emotion projection. The brain assumes others feel like you do, altering perception. Why do you often say yes when you want to say no? Social approval bias. Fear of conflict. Lack of confidence. Habit. Social approval bias. The brain prioritizes being accepted over asserting personal needs. Why do you overestimate danger and minor risks? Caution bias. Negativity bias. Survival instinct. Fear amplification. Negativity bias. The brain reacts strongly to potential threats to protect you, even if small. Why do you sometimes eat when you are not hungry? Social pressure. Taste preference. Stress relief. Habit loop. Stress relief. The brain uses food as comfort during stress, not just for nutrition. Why do you replay social interactions in your head? Habit. Curiosity. Memory reinforcement. Rumination. Rumination. The brain repeatedly analyzes past conversations to understand social outcomes. Why do you interrupt others without realizing? Memory overload. Impatience. Attention bias. Excitement. Impatience. The brain rushes to express thoughts before processing others' words. Why do you avoid hard tasks even when necessary? Distraction. Lack of focus. Fear of effort. Procrastination. Fear of effort. The brain prefers comfort and short-term ease over challenging tasks. Why do you underestimate how long a task will take? Memory failure. Optimism bias. Time illusion. Overconfidence. Optimism bias. The brain assumes things will go faster than they usually do. Why do you overestimate how much others notice you? Attention bias. Memory bias. Social anxiety. Spotlight effect. Spotlight effect. Your brain exaggerates how much people are watching your actions. Why do you overthink simple decisions? Perfectionism. Fear of failure. Attention drift. Decision fatigue. Decision fatigue. The brain struggles when weighing multiple options, causing mental loops. Why do you sometimes repeat mistakes despite knowing better? Overconfidence. Memory failure. Bad habits. Brain shortcut. Brain shortcut. Your brain uses mental shortcuts that prioritize familiar patterns over careful thinking. Why do you sometimes avoid checking emails or messages? Stress avoidance. Task aversion. Fear of bad news. Overwhelm. Stress avoidance. The brain delays tasks that could trigger negative emotions or pressure. Why do you struggle to focus even when trying hard? Lack of willpower. Brain laziness. Memory loss. Distractions overload. Distractions overload. The brain is not built for constant attention. Multitasking makes focus weaker. Why do you struggle to say no even when you want to? Personality flaw. Fear of conflict. Lack of confidence. Social approval bias. Social approval bias. The brain prioritizes acceptance by others, making it hard to refuse requests. Why do you remember embarrassing moments longer than good ones? Attention bias. Social pressure. Negativity bias. Shame bias. Negativity bias. The brain treats negative experiences as important for survival, making them stick. Why do you feel guilty for small mistakes? Conscience bias. Attention error. Overthinking. Memory recall. Conscience bias. The brain monitors behavior closely, often exaggerating minor faults. Why do you often misjudge time when distracted? Poor memory. Time illusion. Sleep deficit. Planning error. Time illusion. The brain loses track of time when deeply focused or distracted, making minutes feel like hours. Why do you sometimes ignore your own feelings? Distraction. Stress overload. Habit. Fear of judgment. Habit. Suppressing emotions is a brain shortcut to avoid dealing with stress. Why do you compare yourself to others constantly? Self-awareness. Social comparison bias. Competition instinct. Insecurity. Social comparison bias. The brain evaluates social standing to understand safety and self-worth. Why do you often check your phone even when nothing important is happening? You're curious. You are bored. You crave dopamine. You are disciplined. You crave dopamine. Your brain rewards small notifications with a dopamine hit, making it addictive to check constantly.